So it is no kept secret that Nottingham Forest have signed a lot of players in the last 5 seasons, this being under the ownership of Greek businessman and Olympia Archos owner Evangelos Marinakis. Now, he promised a lot when he joined the club, as all owners do: a redevelopment of the Peter Taylor stand, which still hasn't happened, returning to the Premier League within 5 years, which still hasn't happened. Actually, probably the furthest we've been from that in the last several years. But one thing that he is very well known for is being a very ruthless chairman. He's not at all worried about sacking managers left, right and centre. But one thing he loves doing, or at least his CEO and management team love doing, is signing an awful amount of players. We've signed 77 players in 5 seasons. That's counting loan players, that's counting everything. We're going to grade them in today's video. This could be a very, very long one, so sit back and relax. Not that you can relax, because we're talking about Nottingham Forest, that's kind of impossible. Of course, if you do enjoy this video, please drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll be keen to do more stuff like this. So, the categories are class signing, good, average, flopped, never played / didn't see enough of. There's actually quite a few that's going to be in that category, and to be fair, 5 of them are players that literally have just signed for us. So that's kind of a little elephant in the room there. And bong, you can have a guess who's going to go in there. So we'll start with Tendai Derinqua, a right back we had for 4 seasons, a player that was really, really hampered by injuries, but whenever he did play, I thought he was a good player, and I really, really feel sorry for him because the last year he was injured for the whole season. And when he came back, particularly the first half of last season, he didn't even get a look in at all, not even on the bench. I think average is about right for Tendai Derinqua. On to Alpha Cemento. He only really did a few notable things. His goal against Swansea in the last minute. He got a goal against QPR, but it was a tap-in literally when we were 3-0 up at the time. He had a lot of injuries as well, which certainly didn't help him out. I remember he got an injury around about the December period of the season, and when he came back, he really wasn't the same player at all. Yeah, I think average is about right for Cemento. Alright, Benny Watson. I think it's interesting, this one. It depends what Ben Watson we're talking about. The first instalment of Ben Watson, yeah, the less said about it, the better. He was very, very average. He was literally told, reportedly, to leave the club when Martin O'Neill was the manager. But the second version of Ben Watson, under Sabi Lamucci, he was arguably our most important player at times. So I think for that reason, you know, he was only with us for 2.5 seasons, I believe. So I think good is about right for Ben Watson. On to John Bostock. This is a guy that kind of got overlooked a lot. And I think when he did play, he actually looked pretty solid. He's currently at Doncaster now. He only played 7 games. He didn't score any goals or get any assists, but he had quite a good long shot on him. And he always was keen to shoot, but I do think probably about average for John Bostock. And I wish he got a bit more game time. I really do. It's a bit sad about that. Okay, on to Costa Pantillamon. We're kind of overloading the middle category already, aren't we? But that says a lot about Nottingham Forest, really, doesn't it? We've had under Marinakis 2 seasons of finishing 17th and 2 seasons being in the top 10. And as it stands right now, a season where we're going to get relegated. So, yeah, it's very, very mixed. Pantillamon, he did do quite a few good moments for us at times and kept us in games a lot. But he also was not the best goalkeeper in the world. So I do think average. And, of course, his last season for us, he was loaned out and just completely forgotten about. Okay, so these next 2 are going to go into never played / not seen enough of. Now, of course, maybe even this weekend, that probably will change for these 2. I will grade the likes of Zinkernagel and who else? Ghana, you know, who have played at least 2 games, but these 2 haven't even played a game yet, you know. On to Glen Murray. I'll be honest, I was not a fan of him when we signed him. I remember putting out a tweet basically saying that we have a combined aged, or our strikers, him, Gavin and Taylor, of about 77 or something ridiculous. He was steady enough. He was average. He didn't do much. Of course, he retired with us. He got 2 goals against Wickham. One very, very good goal, chipping the goalkeeper, then a penalty. But other than that, didn't really do much. Harriata. Flopped. Get him flopped and you stay there. Reportedly, according to Transfermarkt, we paid £4.5 million for Harriata. Just let that sink in, right? He was great for Bournemouth, okay? in the Premier League. When he was at Fulham on loan the year before, he was class. He was brilliant. He scored a goal that shouldn't have been counted against us, but still he was great. And I was really excited when we signed him. But my God, he couldn't have flopped any more if he tried. Michael Haffieler, I think average is about right. Maybe you could say good. But from what I remember of him, he only played one season, by the way. He was with us for 3. But the last 2 seasons, he did not get a chance at all. Not one game was he even on the bench. And he was injured quite a bit as well. But there's no way he was injured for that entire 2 seasons, you know. He was pretty steady. Okay, our first class signing. It has to be class. Joe Lowe. Now, this is not based off current form, because if it was, and based off the last year in fact, I think Lowe could even be put in flopped, to be honest. Maybe that's a bit harsh. Average at least. He's been a class player. He could change games on his own, on form anyway. Brilliant pace, very technical. Brilliant player all around when he wants to be, and he has to find his form again. Okay, so on to Osu Tutu. He's only played a game and a half. He looks steady, and it's worth pointing out the full game that he played against Bournemouth, in which we lost 2-1 obviously. He played at left back, and he's a right back, but he got man of the match. He got man of the match from his wrong position in the pitch. So I think Tutu could end up playing at left back this season, given the fact we've signed Spence. We've got Finn back as well, who I am a big fan of. But yeah, I think Tutu could end up playing at left back this season, but right now he has to be never played. So I've not seen enough. Right, so on to Lyle Taylor. I think average or good. I kind of want to put him in good, because last season he was better than Graben. Okay, and we've got to base off his entire time. Was he the best player in his position when he was with us? I think yes. I'm not going to be too harsh on him. He hasn't really had the service, and that's the same for Graben as well recently. Not had the service, which doesn't help them out at all. His decision making at times isn't great, like against Derby. He was still on goal, and he should have just maybe potentially just at least tried to chip it, but he shot at the goalkeeper. Stuff like that. Okay, so Max Lowe, not played a game yet as well, so he'll go into that category. This guy, you might not be able to see because of the picture, but it's Molo Wage. He was only with us for half a season, the 2018-19 season that was. But this is the thing, right? Molo Wage from Udinese on loan. Centre-back, but he got 3 goals in 16 games. That's very impressive against Swansea, Ipswich and Brentford, I believe. I think Wagger has to be in good at least, because for me, he was one of the best centre-backs we had at the club at the time, and I would have loved to have seen him sign, because he was an integral player when he came in. He played the full 90 minutes pretty much every time. Abdullah Diallo, a goalie we signed a year ago that never played a single minute of football for us. He got into the bench once against Norwich at home, and that's it. Nuno De Costa. This might be a little bit harsh, okay? I'd like to make that clear, but I'm going to put him in flopped, because we paid, I think, around about 2 million for him, which is quite a lot for us. And to be fair, the full half season that he did get, he was being played as a winger, not a striker. So from the very start, he's being played out of position. However, he wasn't really that impactful. He got 1 assist, that's all he's done. Anthony Nocart. Now, if you watch my live streams from last season, you'll know that I had quite a few rants about Anthony Nocart. I'm going to put him in flops, and that might be a little bit harsh, because there was definitely times when Nocart made an impact. He changed the game. He looked like one of the few lively players on the pitch. He looked like the player that was going to make something happen. He was such a greedy player, a ball hogger. Just passed the ball occasionally, Anthony. Honestly, he's a cheat as well. He dived left, right and centre before he even played for Forest. I wasn't a big fan of him. And I was excited when we signed him. I really thought, wow, that is a brilliant signing. I really thought that. And I think based off the expectation that he had, he didn't live up to it. Anyway, enough of Anthony Nocart. On to Chema. I'm going to put him in good. This is not based off how long they were at the club, but he was only with us half a season, and it's a really, really weird thing. I don't get why we sold him. He was with us for half a season, signed from Levante, and we sold him to Getafe. And he had a really, really good bond with the fans from the very start, because he didn't play much, but he was a good player, and he could play at left back. And I'd just like to point out, in that transfer window, we sold Chema, and we sold Jack Robinson, but we signed Gaetang Bong. Cyrus Christie, I'm going to put him in average. The first half of the season, he's on loan last season, of course, from Fulham. Wasn't a fan of him at all. I thought he was quite frankly, overweight. He didn't really try hard enough at all. He didn't look bothered at times. The second half of the season, to be fair to him, he really did up his game. Really was trying very hard. He wasn't afraid to have a shot from right back, of course. Put in some good crosses, got some good assists. This is actually in the first half of the season, but against Wycombe he got an assist for last Taylor, I remember. Yuri Ribeiro. Now there's lots of stories about him, about whether he should have, he was homesick. But there's also rumours that, as he allegedly exposed the club on Instagram, saying that the club wanted to sell him, but keep saying bong. I put him in good because he was a good player. So on to Luke Steele, probably just average. Yeah, that's about it really. I can't really say much about him. He was a backup goalie, only played a handful of games. He was with us for 2 seasons. He was loaned out in the second one to Millwall, and that was about it. Daryl Murphy, do I put him in good or average? I think about average. He was obviously old, he was very slow, very inconsistent, but he did also score quite a few good goals as well. That's all I can really say about Daryl Murphy. Barry Mackay, if only, that's what I'll say to him, because he started out very, very encouraging. Scored in his debut, a great goal against Millwall, but my God, he tailed off. He really tailed off. He was only with us a season, signed from Rangers. Remember quite a bit of hype about him when we signed him. Then we sold him to Swansea, and it's a shame. He's a very fast, pretty skillful player, could shoot from range like I just said, and it's a shame that it didn't work out for him for whatever reason. Loic Mbeso, of course, signed from PSG a year ago. I think good. He's not really played much. I think he's more of a prospect player for us, to be honest. Out injured currently, but he is going to be coming back soon, apparently, which is great. And I think Mbeso at least good, because whenever he has played, he's looked very solid. He got a goal against Burr last season. Didn't mean anything because we lost 2-1, but yeah, I think he's got a big future ahead of him for sure. Nicholas Ioanu, another player that just got signed and then just got forgotten about. Played about a handful of games, got sent off against Luton at the early stage of last season, and then we never saw him play for us again. He's now out on loan in the Serie B, and it's a shame because, again, he's better than Bong. Sam Byram, it's sad really because he was very injury prone. He was injured for pretty much the whole of that season, bar the end of it when he played pretty much every game, and he looked really solid, and it's a shame that he never really got a proper chance. A new signing, and it's early days, but I think he has to be class. Philip Zinkernagel, way too good for us. He's a class above. 4 goal involvements already in 6 games for us this season. What a player. Skillful. You can clearly tell he's frustrated. He's way too good for us. On loan from Watford, of course. Kareem Seifard, he's got about 80 odd appearances for his country and 27 goals. But yet, he didn't really get a chance for us. Now, to be fair, his country is Iran. It's not like it's a mega footballing nation. But still, he was a good player. And I'm going to put him in good. That might be a bit polite. I don't know. Maybe average is better. But in 12 games, he got 2 goals, 2 assists, which I think's not a bad return at all. And saying you're second fiddle to Lewis Graben, not bad at all. And I don't know why we didn't keep hold of him. He was only with us for just over half a season. Another player from that season that was on loan from Porto, Saidi Yanko. To be quite honest, I don't remember a great deal of him. He didn't play that much. He was obviously rotating between him and Darinko mainly, but Amon Byron came back as well. Yeah, just in the middle really. Samba Sao, I think good. He was integral in the first season he was with us, and he wasn't bad in the second either. 2019-20 under Sablimucci, there was some incredible stat whenever Samba Sao played. We didn't lose most of the time until the end of it, of course. But yeah, he was fantastic. He was old, of course, and his legs are made of ice, but he was a great player. Scott McKenna, I think he has to be in class. Only the third player that's gone in there, of course. What a player. Son from Aberdeen. Got 2 goals for us. He is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Michael Dawson, good at the very least. Obviously coming back for a second spell. A leader. Brilliant attitude. Good sense of humour. But on the pitch as well, he's just rock solid. And, you know, obviously towards the end he wasn't as good because he was right at the end of his career. But you watch bench cam when we did that 2 seasons ago. Constantly barking out orders. Filip Kaninovich. How do I not know how to say his name still? I'm going to put him in good. Obviously on loan for half of last season. Yeah, he was alright, you know. Maybe he should be an average for that reason, but I think he was slightly better than that. João Carvalho, another player at attacking midfield. I think good. I'm not going to put him in class. I suppose, given the fact we paid 13 million for him, he's not really delivered. He should be flopped, but that's incredibly harsh. So we're going to put him in good at the very least, because he can change games. He's got that attacking mindset to him, obviously. That flair. Portuguese player, of course. Obviously, he was loaned out for his second season. The first season, he had some incredible games. He started most of the time. He scored some great goals. Everyone pinpoints that game against Borough where he just completely tore them apart. He didn't even score a goal in that game either. And it's ironic, really, that the next player on this list is Diego Gonçalves, who was signed at the same time as João Carvalho. But as you can see from that picture, the only picture I could find that was really good was him being sent off. That says a lot, really. He was definitely a flop. Only played about 8 games for us. Didn't do anything at all, and it's a shame, really. Another flop here, Miguel Angel Guerrero, half a season on loan last season. Was he on loan? No, we signed him and did nothing. Attacking midfielder. Genuinely can't remember a thing he did, really, at all. Yeah, it just didn't work for him. Kieran Dowell. I think good at the very least. He was our top scorer the season he was on loan to us from Everton. Obviously, he got that hat-trick away at Hull, which was, yeah, fantastic for him. The next player, Cafu, I think average. Obviously replaced Tiago Silva, which still makes no sense. You swap an attacking-minded player for a defensive one. Don't get it. We already had loads at the time. We still do to this day. Yeah, Cafu, he's not a bad player. One of the few players we signed last season that hasn't been dreadful. I probably would just put him in the middle, though. My God. You say flop, you think of this man, Raphael. Flop central, literally. Half a season, did absolutely nothing. Nothing for us. Now he's signed for Sevilla. Yes. Like the 4th best team in Spain. How annoying is that? Very. My God, we were stupid for letting go of this guy. Alex Milosevic. I'm even tempted to put him in class. Like, he was so good. Rock solid. Loved the fans. The fans loved him. He was only with us half a season, but he was so integrated into Nottingham Forest. It was just fantastic. And he was a great defender. Got in on the acts in scoring goals as well. Great volley against Borough at home. He was just such a class player, and I don't know why we got rid of him. Claire Yakum in the middle. Obviously signed from West Brom. He was there for a long time. With us basically a year, really. Didn't do a huge amount. He was in the middle, hence why he's an average. Leo Bonatini, another flop. Another flop. A striker, massively hyped up because he was great when he was in the Championship previously with Wolves, but it just didn't work out for him again. Half a season on loan. We needed another striker to help out Lewis Graben and obviously Ansarifard back then, but yeah. This didn't work for him. This guy, Taxidis, did not play a single minute or second of football. What was the point? You may as well have stayed at home, mate. Another guy that never played, and you can tell he never played because I've not even got a picture of him wearing a Forest shirt. That is him at Bournemouth. Adam Federici, a goalkeeper, or Australian goalie. Bournemouth's backup, never played for us. Bloody hell. Adama Diakarbi, you get him flopped. You have pace, which is decent, you want pace, but you did literally nothing else of any use at all. Adlen Guerrero. This may seem a little bit much, but I'm going to put him in class because I love Guerrero. Such a good player. 2 spells with us, of course. He could score absolute belters from range. He nearly scored the ultimate goal. Honestly, it would have been one of the best goals ever from the halfway line, but didn't quite pay off. But great player. Andreas Boukalakis, now a great player for obviously Olympia Archos, but yeah, he didn't do anything for us at all, really. Lee Tomlin, I'm going to put him in average. He got a few good goals against Barnsley, a game that I was at. Good finish as well. I think there was calls that he should have stayed with us, obviously from Cardiff on loan, but he wasn't a bad player. Carl Jenkinson, you kind of feel sorry for him in ways. I'd probably put him in average. He isn't that great either, though, hence why he's in average. Because obviously he was signed to replace the likes of Yanko and to help out Derinqua. Obviously Sambar had gone as well. And then Matty Cash came along and said, you know what, no, I'm going to be the right back. Or Sammy Lamucci said that. So it didn't really work out for Carl Jenkinson. Brisamba, right now, if we're basing it off current form, it looks ridiculous putting him in class. But overall, he has to be there. Because last season, he saved us a lot. He also did have quite a few poor moments as well. But the first season he was with us, probably the best goalie in the league, or one of. Pele. Not that one, obviously I had to say that. With us half a season on loan from Monaco, yeah, just in the middle really. Jack Callback, again average. It depends which Jack Callback we're talking about though, because the first Jack Callback on loan from Newcastle in, well, 2 seasons actually, season and a half. It was great. It was really, really good. It was the Ginger Pirlo as we called him. But my God, he's been beyond average since he's come back. And to be fair, I think he has been slightly better this season than he was last year, which, I mean, isn't hard to do given how bad we've been so far. But I think Callback in the middle. Ajada hasn't played a game yet. Of course, he can't play for a while because of those COVID restrictions, which is very annoying. You know, while we're at it, we'll put in Drager and Sander Silva as well. And another one, Liam Bozin. You may never have heard of him because he never played a game. He's only with us, actually he was with us for 2 years in between 2017-18 and 18-19. And here he is. Get in that category, mate. The less said about you, the better. You're one of the worst players I have ever seen kick a football. Ethan Horvath, at the very minimum, good. Has potential to maybe even be higher than that. 2 games so far in the League Cup. He has been absolutely class. He's great with his feet, makes some great saves, and he's a very confident goalkeeper. Obviously a US international as well. Now this guy, Dejada, I'm probably saying his name completely wrong, Iranian international. It's difficult to put him in flop because he only played 1 game for us and only 20 minutes against Fulham, a club that he also had a loan spell with in his career. And he got injured and then he never played a single minute of football for us again. And he got released. So it's kind of hard putting him flopped. So, you know what? No. Maybe I should put him in not seen enough because he literally only played 20 minutes of football. Arvo Muric. It's a shame because I was really excited about him, but it has to be flop because he was the reason why we didn't have a completely unbeaten start to the 2019-20 season because we went on an 11-game unbeaten run bar the first game of the season against West Brom. And it would have been, what an amazing start to the season it would have been. Ironic when the last 2 years it's been absolutely diabolical. But Muric was the reason why we lost that first game to West Brom. We would have won 1-0 if it wasn't for him. So that was incredibly frustrating. Jason Cummings, yeah, in the middle, really. That's all I can say about him. Gil Diaz, apart from that goal against Newcastle where he chipped the goalie, it's actually that picture right there that we're talking about. It's a shame, didn't really work out for him. He was a pretty, you know, neat player at times. He was pretty skillful, pretty fast as well, but yeah, it just didn't really work out for him. He was on the bench most of the time as well. Albert Adoma, I feel so sorry for this guy. Obviously, he went back to his boyhood club QPR, but he is one of the funniest, best characters I've ever seen in football. Like, what a bloke. And he was a good little player to be on the bench. He scored a few goals for us as well against Charlton away, against Preston of course, a goal that ended up getting us a point. Tyler Blackett, get him flop, mate, honestly, just beyond bang average. Fab Basharu, another player from last season that flopped. We spent about 700 grand on him and it just did not work out at all for him. Only played a few games and to be fair to him, injuries cost him. Liam Bridcut, I think in the middle, he was with us for, what was it? About 2 seasons. About 2 seasons he was with us. He was loaned out to Bolton. And then we sold him to Lincoln last season. He was a pretty good player at times. I think he was captain at times as well for us. He was under from Leeds. Luke Freeman, honestly, one of the most average players I've ever seen. And it's a shame because I wouldn't have said that before we signed him because I was so excited when we did sign him because he was such a good player in the Championship for QPR initially. And, you know, to be fair, he was played on the wing at times, which didn't help him, but he was also injured as well. But yeah, just average. Hidal Sudani, I'm going to put him in average. It's a little bit like the Iranian lad here. Injury is what cost him. He got a goal off the bench. I think it was his first appearance actually against Reading in one of the first few games of the season. He got a goal against Burton in the Cup, but then he got injured, a major injury, just completely ruined his Forest career, and now he's at Olympia Archos. Can you believe that? Now this guy, you may never have heard of him because he only played 45 minutes of football for us, and this is the really sad thing about this. He hasn't played another 45 minutes since, because the injury that made him only play 45 minutes ended his career. It is Raphael Fuentes. He only played, like I said, 45 minutes of football against Barnsley, a game that I went to. Strange, I've mentioned that game twice now. This guy, Stefan Capino, only played 4 games for us, a goalkeeper. Obviously, he was behind Pantillamon that season, of course. He didn't play much. Final 4 games of that season he played, and that was about it. This guy, obviously, one of our current players, James Garner, obviously, class signing. What an absolutely brilliant player. One of the best players I've ever seen play for us, and he's on loan, which is annoying. Jack Robinson, I think good. He got quite a lot of stick, really. I think quite unfair stick, because very, very steady player with us for a year and a half. We signed him in 2018-19, then he left halfway through the next season. This guy, Lewis Graben, if you're basing it off current form, he's in flop without a doubt. But I'm going to put him in class because we're basing this off the whole of his time at Forest, remember. That's very important to know. His first 2 seasons at Forest, one of the best strikers in the league. 20 goals in his second year, and he got close to that in his first season. He was susceptible to missing penalties, which was annoying, but other than that, great player. Last season was a major come down for him, and so far this season as well, as I had quite a bit of a rant about him against Wolves. Yeah, he's not the player he was at all. Only a few more to go then. We've got Sammy Amiobi. I'm going to put him in good. Very inconsistent, so I suppose you could say he's an average. But I think he went under the radar. He scored quite a lot of important goals, particularly in his first season, only with us for 2 years, on a free from Bolton. He got quite a lot of unfair stick, in my opinion. On to Tiago Silva. I think class, and it's the only one that's going to go in there now. Frustrating, because he was only with us for a season, and he made things happen, but he was brilliant. He scored quite a few decent goals. He didn't score many, to be fair, and I suppose his stats probably should have been a little bit better, but I really like Tiago Silva, and it's a shame that he left after just a year. Tobias Figueiredo, average. It's the definition of average, really. First 2 seasons in the middle. His third season, 1920, he was really good, really solid. He did have his moments because he is Tobias Figueiredo, but last season went downhill again, and so far this season it's more of the same. And the final player, we've finally got there, Yohan Belalawan. I'm going to put him in good. Obviously injuries again, so many injuries cost these players, didn't help him out at all, but he was a pretty solid centre-back, only with us for about 2 seasons. I liked him. He was a pretty decent player. So then, that is my grading of every single player that we have signed since Evangelos Marinakis has been our owner. Quite a different video, really. But if you have enjoyed it, please make sure to drop a like on it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And yeah, I'll see you very soon for a vlog to Cardiff City at the weekend. And that's a massive game. I'll see you then. Thank you.